August 14th, 1867, Union County, South Carolina. Marcus Johnson stood on the church porch, rifle in one hand, Bible in the other, watching 60 torches approach through the darkness. Wait, wrong story. Let me tell you about something that happened 52 years later, something they buried so deep your grandparents never heard about it. July 11, 1919, Longview, Texas. 10 p.m. Samuel L. Jones stood on his front porch looking out over 50 acres of cotton white as snow under the full moon. Behind him, his two-story wooden house, the nicest black-owned home in Gregg County. In his hand, a letter he just finished writing to the Chicago Defender newspaper. A letter that told the truth about a lynching. A letter that would cost him everything. In the distance, torches. Lots of them, moving fast, coming for him. What happened in the next 72 hours erased the richest black farming community in East Texas from history. Every house burned, every millionaire killed or driven out, every acre of land stolen. For 104 years, they buried this story in unmarked graves and falsified county records. Until now. This is your stolen inheritance. This is the truth they don't want you to know. By the end of this video, you'll discover the real reason Longview's black millionaires were targeted. It wasn't just racism, it was economics. Cold-blooded, calculated theft disguised as a race riot. You'll learn how one letter triggered the systematic destruction of $2 million in black wealth. That's $35 million in today's money. Gone in 72 hours. You'll meet 7 black farmers who owned more land than most white families in Texas, men who built empires from nothing, and you'll learn how every single one of them lost everything in 1 week. And here's what matters most. This connects directly to why black Americans own less than 1% of U.S. farmland today. This isn't ancient history. This happened 104 years ago. Your great-grandparents' generation. If you're from Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, if your family has roots anywhere in the South, this affected your family's wealth. This is why your grandmother couldn't inherit land. This is why your father never owned a farm. This is your stolen inheritance. Your ancestors survived this. They rebuilt from ashes. That resilience, that strength, that refusal to be broken, it's in your blood right now. And after this video, you'll never look at the racial wealth gap the same way. You'll know it's not a gap, it's theft. Systematic, legal, violent theft that continues to this day. Now let me take you back to Longview before the fire, before the blood, before they erased everything. Longview, Texas, Gregg County, 1900 to 1919. Small farming town, 5,700 people, 40% black. But here's what made Longview different from almost every other town in Texas. The black people there were rich, not surviving. Not getting by, rich. The soil was fertile, some of the best in East Texas. Cotton prices soared after World War I. And here's the key. During Reconstruction, freed slaves actually had a brief window to buy land. Many did. By 1910, 127 black farmers in Gregg County owned 4,500 acres of land. Let me put that in perspective. That's 7 square miles of prime farmland owned by black families. The total value, about $2 million in 1919 money, $35 million today. Now let me introduce you to 7 men, 7 millionaire farmers who built empires with their bare hands. First, Samuel L. Jones, 250 acres, cotton and corn. Started as a sharecropper in 1885, saved every penny for 15 years, bought his first 10 acres in 1900. By 1919, He owned 250 acres, a two-story house. He built himself, and he employed 12 workers, some of them white. That last part, remember that. It'll matter soon. Second, Dr. Calvin P. Davis, medical doctor and farmer. 180 acres. He ran a clinic out of his home, the only doctor for black patients in 3 counties. Delivered over 500 babies in his career. Made money from medicine, invested in land. Smart man. Third, Reverend James T. Williams, Baptist preacher and landowner. 200 acres. Led the largest black church in Gregg County, 300 members. Used his influence to help other black families buy land. Preached that land ownership was freedom, that God wanted his people to own the earth, not rent it. Fourth, John Henry Smith. 300 acres, the biggest. Former slave born 1851. Spent his first 14 years in bondage. Freed at age 14, worked as a sharecropper for 30 years. Bought his first land in 1895 at age 44. By 1919, at 68 years old, he was the richest black man in Longview. 300 acres of cotton that produced over $60,000 a year in revenue. Fifth, Moses Jackson. 150 acres plus a cotton gin. A cotton gin, you understand what that means. That's not just farming. That's processing. That's industry. He didn't just grow cotton, he processed it for other farmers, black and white, and took a cut. Business mind. Sixth, Isaiah Brown. 175 acres. He didn't just sell locally, he exported cotton to New Orleans, dealt directly with northern textile mills. Cut out the white middlemen, kept more profit, made enemies doing it. And seventh, Robert Big Rob Turner. 220 acres, plus the only black-owned general store in Longview. Sold seeds, tools, supplies to black farmers. Kept the money circulating in the community. These 7 men, all of them, had something in common beyond land. They were all devout Christians. Attended Longview Baptist Church every Sunday. Tithed faithfully. Built the church building with their own money. Built a school for black children, hired teachers, bought books. Lived their faith out loud. And they all employed workers. Some black, some white. Poor whites who couldn't find work elsewhere worked for black landowners. Imagine that. A white man in 1919 Texas taking orders from a black boss. That created rage, burning, violent rage, because it shattered the entire social order. It proved black people weren't inferior. It proved black people could build wealth, could run businesses, could succeed. And that terrified white supremacists. Because if black people could be millionaires, what did that say about white superiority? It said it was a lie. So they had to destroy it. They had to burn the evidence. But they needed an excuse. And in June 1919, they got one. June 14, 1919. 17-year-old Lemuel Walters, black teenager, worked as a farmhand outside Longview. He was accused of raping a white woman. Let me be clear about what actually happened. Court documents that survived testimonies that were later uncovered, they tell a different story. Lemuel Walters and this woman had a relationship, consensual, secret because Texas law banned interracial relationships. When her husband found out, when the town found out, she had 2 choices. Admit the truth and be shamed, cast out, maybe worse. Or say she was attacked. She chose survival. She accused Walters. That same day, a mob of white men found Walters, dragged him to an oak tree on the edge of town, hanged him. But they didn't just hang him. They mutilated his body, cut him, burned him, took photographs, turned those photographs into postcards and sold them at the general store. Let that sink in. They made souvenirs of torture. The local sheriff, Frank H. Garrett, he didn't investigate, didn't arrest anyone, wrote in his report that Walters died of suicide. Suicide. A 17-year-old boy hanged himself, cut himself up, then somehow burned his own corpse. That was the official story. Samuel Jones saw the body. He was there when they brought what was left of Lemuel Walters back to the black community. Jones stood over that boy's remains, and something broke inside him. Or maybe something awakened. He went home, sat at his kitchen table, lit a lamp, and wrote a letter. A long letter, detailed, named names, told exactly what happened, who did it, how the sheriff covered it up. He mailed it to the Chicago Defender, the largest black newspaper in America, based up north, where black people could speak truth without being lynched for it. The letter was published July 8, 1919. 1 week later, copies of that newspaper made their way back to Texas. White residents of Longview got their hands on it. They read Jones's letter. They read him calling the lynching what it was: murder, terrorism, and they decided Samuel Jones had to pay. On July 10th, Sheriff Garrett made a public statement. Whoever wrote that letter to the Chicago Defender will pay for spreading lies about this town. Not subtle, not hidden. Open threat. That night, 40 men gathered at the courthouse. By 9 p.m., it was 400. They armed themselves. Rifles, shotguns, pistols, torches, cans of kerosene. They knew where Samuel Jones lived. Everybody knew. He had the nicest house in the black part of town. They marched. Samuel Jones wasn't stupid. He saw them coming. He'd been a farmer for 30 years. He knew how to read weather, how to read soil, and he knew how to read a mob. He gathered his wife and 3 children, told them to run out the back through the cotton fields toward his brother's house 3 miles away. His wife begged him to come. He said no. Someone had to slow them down, give the family time to escape. He loaded his shotgun, stepped onto his porch, raised that gun as 400 torches came up his road. He didn't fire, just stood there. And that shocked them enough that they stopped just for a moment. In that moment, Jones' neighbors appeared. 10 black men, all farmers, all armed. They'd seen the mob forming. They knew where it was headed. They came to defend Jones, not because they agreed with his letter. Some did, some didn't. But because he was one of them. "You don't let a mob burn your neighbor," one of the white men shouted. "Give us the nigger who wrote that letter, and we'll leave peaceful." Jones shouted back, "I wrote the truth, and I'm not going anywhere." Then someone fired. We don't know who. Black witness said a white man fired first. White witness said Jones fired first. Doesn't matter. Once one gun went off, they all did. Jones and his 10 neighbors fired into the crowd, hit several men. The mob scattered, shocked that black men were shooting back. They retreated, but they'd be back. They just needed more guns. Jones and his neighbors used that time to run. Jones caught up with his family. They fled toward Marshall, Texas, 20 miles east. Dr. Calvin Davis, he heard the gunfire, knew what it meant, started packing. But he didn't move fast enough. By 11 p.m. that night, the mob returned, 800 strong now. White men from surrounding counties poured in. They went straight to Jones' house, found it empty, so they burned it, doused it with kerosene, lit it up, stood back and watched. That 2-story house built by hand over 5 years filled with furniture, Jones made himself photographs, Bibles, the deed to his land. Everything it burned to the ground in 20 minutes. The mob cheered. Then they turned toward Dr. Calvin Davis's house. Davis was still inside trying to decide what to take, what to leave. He heard them coming. Too late to run. He grabbed his rifle, barricaded his door. They surrounded the house, called for him to come out. He refused, so they started shooting into the house. Davis fired back, hit 2 of them. That made them angrier. They rushed the door, broke it down, dragged Davis out. They beat him. Fists, boots, rifle butts. Beat him until he couldn't stand. Then they torched his house, his clinic, all his medical supplies, records, instruments, his land deed, everything. While the house burned, they dragged Davis to the jail, charged him with attempted murder. Attempted murder for defending his home from a mob. He'd sit in that jail for 3 weeks, untreated injuries, before a white judge dismissed charges due to lack of evidence. But by then, his land was gone, sold for unpaid taxes. July 12, 1919, morning. Texas National Guard arrived in Longview. You'd think that's good news. You'd be wrong. The Guard didn't come to protect black residents. They came to help the mob maintain order. What does that mean? It means they disarmed black families, went door to door, confiscated every gun, left them defenseless. Meanwhile, white residents kept their weapons. The Guard also arrested dozens of black men on charges of inciting a riot. Inciting a riot. They were defending their homes. But the law saw it as blacks attacking whites, because that's how it always works. The violence protects itself by criminalizing resistance. With the black community disarmed and their leaders in jail, the real theft began. John Henry Smith, 68 years old, 300 acres, the richest black man in Longview. Guard soldiers came to his house with a white lawyer. The lawyer had papers. He told Smith he had to sign them. Transfer of property. Smith refused. They beat him, took him to jail, charged him with conspiracy to commit murder. In jail, Smith died. Official cause of death, heart failure. But witnesses said he had a cracked skull, blunt force, trauma. They killed him and called it natural causes. With Smith dead, his land went to probate. No will, no heirs present. All his children had fled during the riot. A white-owned land company bought all 300 acres at auction for $300. $1 per acre. Land worth $30,000 stolen for $300. That's theft. Legal, documented, sanctioned theft. Moses Jackson owned 150 acres and a cotton gin. The mob burned his cotton gin to the ground. Not just burned it, they dismantled the machinery. First destroyed it beyond repair, then set fire to the building. Why destroy the machines? Because they didn't want Jackson to rebuild. They wanted to ensure he stayed ruined. With his gin destroyed and no way to make income, Jackson couldn't pay his property taxes. 3 months later, the county seized his land for unpaid taxes, sold it at auction to a white timber company. Jackson fled to Kansas City, worked as a waiter for the next 20 years, died poor. Isaiah Brown tried to run, loaded his family into a wagon. July 12th, headed north toward Arkansas. They made it 15 miles before a group of white men on horseback caught up to them. They shot Brown in the back. His family kept going, left him bleeding on the road. He died before reaching a doctor. He's buried somewhere in Arkansas. No one knows where, no headstone. His 175 acres claimed by a white farmer who said Brown abandoned the property. No legal challenge, no investigation. Robert Big Rob Turner, they gave him a choice. Sign over your land for $1 per acre or we'll hang you and take it anyway. Turner signed. 220 acres sold for $220. He took his family to Oklahoma, tried to start over, never recovered financially, died in 1950 broke and bitter. Reverend James T. Williams, the preacher, they burned his church first, then his house. Williams and his congregation fled to Detroit. He never preached again. Lost his faith, some say. Lost his voice, others say. Either way, his 200 acres went to a white land speculator who'd been trying to buy it for years. Got it for free in the chaos. By July 14th, 1919, 72 hours after the first shot, every single one of those 7 black millionaires was either dead in jail or fled. Every acre of their land, 4,500 acres total, stolen, transferred to white ownership through violence, legal manipulation, or outright fraud. The estimated value of stolen land, $1.8 million in 1919. $31 million in today's money. Just land. Doesn't count homes, equipment, livestock, businesses. Factor all that in, you're looking at over $50 million in stolen black wealth from one small Texas town in 3 days. The white residents of Longview saw it differently. They saw it as restoring order, putting blacks back in their place, teaching them not to get uppity. And the scary part, this worked. For over a century, it worked. Samuel Jones, he made it to Chicago, worked in a meatpacking plant, died in 1934, poor unknown. His children never owned land. His grandchildren grew up in Chicago tenements. The wealth he built, gone. Dr. Calvin Davis made it to Los Angeles. Never practiced medicine again. His license wasn't valid in California, and he couldn't afford to retake exams. Worked as a janitor, died in 1942. Imagine that. A doctor, a man who delivered 500 babies, spending his last years mopping floors because a mob destroyed everything he built. If these men had kept their land, if their families had inherited it, do you understand what that would mean today? John Henry Smith's 300 acres in Gregg County. Average Texas farmland today goes for $4,200 per acre. That's $1.26 million. Add compound appreciation over 104 years, you're looking at around $4 million minimum, times 7 families. That's $28 million stolen from 7 families. Just land value, not including business income, not including generational wealth compounding. But none of those families got a dime. None of those families even got an apology, because the state of Texas never acknowledged the Longview Massacre, never investigated, never prosecuted anyone. The official record still calls it the Longview Race Riot, as if black farmers defending their homes is equivalent to a white mob burning down a community. Language matters. Riot suggests chaos, 2 sides fighting. Massacre means one side slaughtering another. This was a massacre, but admitting that means admitting theft. Admitting theft means owing reparations. So they call it a riot, bury the records, and move on. You're probably thinking, okay, that's horrific, that's evil, but that was one town, one incident, an aberration. Let me show you why you're wrong. Let me show you the pattern. Because Longview wasn't unique, it was the blueprint. 1919 was called Red Summer. Not because of communism, because of blood. From May to October 1919, there were 25 race massacres across America. 25. In 6 months. All following the same pattern. Black community builds wealth. White rage builds. Violence erupts. Black wealth destroyed. Let me take you through just 4 more. Then you'll see. This wasn't random. This was systematic. This was policy. September 30th, 1919. Elaine, Arkansas, Phillips County, the richest cotton-producing county in Arkansas. Black sharecroppers there formed a labor union, called it the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America. Their goal: demand fair prices for their cotton. See, white landowners paid black sharecroppers pennies on the dollar, kept them in perpetual debt. The union wanted to negotiate, wanted to hire lawyers and sue for fair treatment. That's it. No violence, just legal action. On September 30th, about 100 black farmers gathered at a church in Hoopspur, small community outside Elaine. They met at night because meeting during the day got you fired or worse. They were discussing strategy, pooling money for legal fees. Around 11 p.m., two white men claiming to be law enforcement approached the church. They fired shots into the church. Why? Some say they were trying to break up the meeting. Others say they were trying to provoke a response so they could justify violence. Either way, the farmers inside fired back. One white man died. That's all it took. By morning, 500 to 1,000 white men from Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee poured into Phillips County. They came armed with rifles, shotguns, and fury. The National Guard showed up. Instead of protecting black residents, they joined the mob, used machine guns against sharecroppers with hunting rifles. The massacre lasted 3 days. Official death count 5 white men, 25 black men. That's what the state of Arkansas reported. The NAACP investigated. Their estimate: 100 to 237 black people killed. Bodies were dumped in the Mississippi River, buried in unmarked mass graves, hidden in the woods. White authorities arrested 67 black men, charged them with insurrection for forming a labor union. 12 were sentenced to death. It took the NAACP 6 years and a Supreme Court case to get them freed. But here's what didn't get fixed: the land. Black families in Elaine owned thousands of acres of farmland. After the massacre, white landowners claimed that land, said the families abandoned it, said they couldn't find the owners, said whatever they needed to say to justify theft. There's no official record of how much land was stolen, because Phillips County records from 1919 mysteriously disappeared. A fire in the courthouse in 1924. How convenient. But estimates suggest over 10,000 acres of black-owned farmland was transferred to white ownership in the aftermath of Elaine. 10,000 acres. At today's prices, that's over $30 million. And not one family got it back. Not one. November 2nd, 1920. Ocoee, Florida, Orange County. You know what Ocoee was famous for? Oranges. Black farmers there grew some of the best oranges in Florida. The community was prosperous. July Perry was the richest. Owned 50 acres of orange groves. Made good money selling citrus. But in 1920, Florida was still enforcing Jim Crow voting laws, poll taxes, literacy tests, intimidation. Most black men couldn't vote even though the 15th Amendment supposedly guaranteed that right. Mose Norman, a black farmer, decided he was going to vote in the 1920 presidential election. November 2nd, Election Day, Norman went to the polls. They turned him away. Said he didn't pay his poll tax. He had the receipt proving he paid. They didn't care. Told him to leave. Norman refused. An argument started. Norman left before it got violent. But the KKK decided to make an example. That night, a mob of white men went looking for Norman. Couldn't find him. Someone said he might be hiding at July Perry's house. So they went there. July Perry was home with his family. The mob surrounded his house, demanded he hand over Norman. Perry said Norman wasn't there. They didn't believe him. They tried to force their way in. Perry, a World War I veteran, a man who fought for America overseas, grabbed his shotgun and defended his home. He shot 2 white men, killed them. That escalated everything. The mob called for reinforcements. By midnight, over 500 white men surrounded Perry's house. They set it on fire. Perry and his family tried to escape through the back. They caught Perry, beat him savagely, dragged him to jail. The next day, they took him from jail, hanged him from a tree, and shot his corpse over 100 times. Then they turned on the rest of Ocoee's black community, burned it all. 25 homes, 2 churches, a school. They didn't just burn buildings, they burned people inside. Official count says 6 black people died. Survivors who escaped said 30 to 50 were killed. Every single black resident, about 500 people, fled Ocoee that night. The entire black population gone, and Ocoee became what's called a sundown town, a town where black people were not allowed after dark. That lasted until the 1980s, 60 years. As for the land, July, Perry's 50 acres of prime orange groves went to a white citrus company. Mose Norman's land gone. Every black-owned farm in Ocoee stolen. Total value estimated at $150,000 in 1920. That's $2.3 million today. And here's the truly sick part. Those orange groves kept producing. The land kept generating wealth, just not for the families who built it. White owners made millions off that land over the next century, millions built on murder. And when Florida finally acknowledged the Longview Massacre in 2020, 100 years later, you know what they offered. An apology. Just words, no reparations, no land returned, no compensation, just sorry. As if sorry pays for a century of stolen wealth. January 1st, 1923, Rosewood, Florida, Levy County. Rosewood was a self-sufficient black town, 350 residents. Almost everyone owned their land. They had their own school, their own churches, their own general store, a sawmill that employed dozens. Cedar Key was nearby, a white town economically depressed. You had this contrast, black town thriving, white town struggling. That created resentment. On January 1st, 1923, a white woman named Fannie Taylor in Cedar Key claimed she was attacked by a black man. She said he broke into her house, assaulted her. That was her story. Here's what actually happened. Fannie Taylor had a white boyfriend on the side. Her husband didn't know. That day, the boyfriend came over. They argued. He hit her. She had bruises. Her husband came home. She panicked. She couldn't admit to an affair, so she blamed a black man. A lie that sentenced an entire town to death. White mobs from Cedar Key and surrounding areas, 200 to 300 men, descended on Rosewood looking for the alleged attacker. They couldn't find him because he didn't exist. So they started burning houses, shooting anyone who ran. Families hid in the swamps. Children watched their parents get shot. The massacre lasted 7 days, January 1st to January 7th. By the end, Rosewood was gone. Every building burned. Not one structure left standing. Official death toll: 6 black people, 2 white people. Survivors said 40 to 150 black people were killed. Many bodies were never found, left in the swamps to decompose or be eaten by animals. The survivors fled to other towns, some to Gainesville, some further north. They left everything: land, homes, possessions, photographs, family Bibles, everything. A grand jury investigated. They concluded that insufficient evidence existed to prosecute anyone. Insufficient evidence. An entire town burned to the ground, and there's insufficient evidence. Rosewood became a ghost town. Literally. The land sat empty for decades. Then white developers bought it, built vacation homes, turned the site of a massacre into a tourist destination. As for reparations, Florida didn't even acknowledge Rosewood until 1994, 71 years later. They passed the Rosewood Compensation Act. 9 survivors were still alive. They each got $150,000. Sounds like a lot until you realize they lost everything. Land homes, businesses, 70 years of earning potential. $150,000 doesn't cover it, and the descendants got nothing. Florida said the claims were too old, too hard to verify. So hundreds of descendants of Rosewood families got zero. The land their grandparents owned, now worth millions, they'll never see a dime from it. The state said sorry, gave a few survivors some money, and called it justice. That's not justice, that's hush money. One more. This one's earlier, but it set the template for everything that followed. November 10th, 1898, Wilmington, North Carolina. This wasn't just a massacre, this was a coup. The only successful coup d'etat in American history. Wilmington in 1898 was the largest city in North Carolina. 56% of the population was black. And here's what made it unusual. Black people held political power. The city had a biracial government, black aldermen, black police officers, black business owners. There was a neighborhood called Brooklyn. Not New York, Brooklyn, Wilmington, Brooklyn. It was the Black Wall Street. Before there was a Black Wall Street. Black-owned banks, black-owned newspapers. The Daily Record, run by Alex Manley, was the most prominent black newspaper in the South. Black doctors, black lawyers, prosperity. That enraged white supremacists. They launched what they called the White Supremacy Campaign. Not hiding it, not using coded language. They openly said white people should rule and black people should be subjugated. On November 10, 1898, 2,000 armed white men marched on Wilmington. They went straight to the Daily Record building, burned it to the ground. Then they went to Brooklyn, started shooting. Black residents tried to fight back, outnumbered and outgunned. The mob killed dozens. Official count says 14 to 60. Historians believe it was closer to 60 to 300. They dumped bodies in the Cape Fear River. The coup leaders forced the mayor and all black aldermen to resign at gunpoint. They installed a new, all-white government. Then they banished prominent black leaders from the city, gave them hours to leave or be killed. Over 2,000 black residents fled Wilmington in the days that followed. Those who stayed lost their political power, their businesses, their property. Land and businesses valued at over $100,000 in 1898, $3.7 million today, were seized. And here's the worst part. This coup worked. It ended Reconstruction in North Carolina. It served as a model for white supremacists across the South. If you could overthrow a government with violence and face no consequences, why not do it everywhere? And they did. Wilmington, Rosewood, Ocoee, Elaine, Longview. Different years, different states, same pattern. Black people build wealth, white people destroy it. Black people are killed, displaced, robbed. No one is prosecuted. The land is stolen. The story is buried. Do you see the pattern now? Longview, 1919. Elaine, 1919. Ocoee, 1920. Rosewood, 1923. Wilmington, 1898. Tulsa, 1921. And dozens more. Every time black people built wealth farms, businesses, banks, they destroyed it. Every single time. This wasn't random violence, this was economic warfare. This was systematic theft disguised as race riots. They stole over $100 trillion from us. Let me say that number again. 100 trillion. That's not exaggeration. Economists have calculated the total value of labor stolen during slavery land, stolen during Reconstruction, and Jim Crow businesses destroyed in massacres, wages suppressed through discrimination housing, wealth lost to redlining. It adds up to over $100 trillion. And they called it law and order. They called it restoring peace. They called it protecting white women or stopping black insurrection. But it was always about money. It was always about keeping black people poor. Because poor people are easy to control. Poor people can't challenge power. Poor people stay in their place. But wealthy black people, they're a threat to white supremacy. They prove the lie. They prove black people are not inferior. So the wealth had to be destroyed. And the evidence had to be buried. Now you're probably wondering, how did they hide all this? How did 25 plus massacres disappear from history books? How did they steal trillions and face zero consequences? Let me show you the machinery of erasure. Let me show you exactly how they made your history vanish. First method, physical destruction. They didn't just steal the land, they destroyed the proof that you ever owned it. Longview, Texas. After the massacre, something interesting happened. In 1928, 9 years later, the Gregg County Records Office caught fire. Mysterious fire. Cause unknown. Every property deed registered before 1920 burned. Gone. Samuel Jones had a deed registered in 1905 for his 250 acres. Legal document. Notarized. Recorded. After 1928, that deed doesn't exist in any official record. So when his descendants tried to claim the land decades later, they had no proof. The county said, "Sorry, we have no record of your grandfather ever owning that property." And the current deed holder, a white-owned timber company that registered the land in 1920, well, their deeds survived. How convenient. Elaine, Arkansas. Phillips County Courthouse, 1922. Another fire. All records from 1915 to 1920 destroyed. Property deeds, tax records, court documents gone. Then there's Tulsa. After the 1921 massacre of Black Wall Street, the Land Records Office was cleaned out. Not a fire this time, just missing files. Dozens of property deeds for black-owned businesses in Greenwood vanished from the files. When families tried to rebuild, tried to prove ownership, they couldn't. No deed, no ownership. Simple as that. Rosewood, Florida. There are no official property records for Rosewood at all. None. A town of 350 people, most owning land, and not a single deed on file anywhere. How does that happen? It doesn't, unless someone makes it happen. But it wasn't just about burning records. They physically destroyed witnesses too. Anyone who spoke about the massacres faced threats. John Henry Smith in Longview died in jail from supposed heart failure at 68. But the black undertaker who prepared his body said he had a cracked skull and broken ribs. Blunt force trauma. They beat an old man to death and called it natural causes. In Elaine, several farmers who survived the massacre tried to testify to NAACP investigators. 3 of them died in suspicious accidents within a year. 1 drowning, 1 farm equipment accident, 1 fell off a horse and broke his neck. All 3 just happened to be the ones with the clearest memories, the best documentation, the strongest cases. In Rosewood, a woman named Philomena Goins survived the massacre. She was 8 years old when it happened. For 70 years, she stayed silent. Know why? Because a white man told her family, if you ever speak about what happened, we'll finish what we started. She didn't tell her story until 1993, when she was 80 years old, and the men who threatened her were long dead. That's how you silence a community. Terror, murder. Make the consequences of speaking worse than the pain of silence. They also seized property directly after Longview Sheriff Frank Garrett issued a proclamation. Any black resident who fled the county and didn't return within 30 days had abandoned their property. Abandoned. As if running for your life is abandonment. Texas law at the time allowed counties to seize abandoned property and sell it at auction. So 1 month after the massacre, Gregg County held an auction. 7 properties, 4,500 acres total. Minimum bid set at $1 per acre. $1. Land worth $10 to $20 per acre sold for $1. And only white residents were allowed to bid. Black people weren't legally barred. They just knew what would happen if they showed up. So white land speculators bought 4,500 acres for $4,500 total. Land worth at minimum $45,000, 90% discount. That's not a sale. That's theft with paperwork. Same thing happened in Ocoee. After the entire black community fled Orange County, declared all their properties abandoned, sold them at auction. July. Perry's 50 acres went for $50. $50 for 50 acres of orange groves producing thousands of dollars of fruit per year. The buyer, a county commissioner's brother. Not even hiding the corruption. In Elaine, the plantation owners whose land the black sharecroppers worked, they claimed the sharecroppers owed them money. Unpaid debts. They sued the estates of murdered sharecroppers, got judgments, and seized any property those families owned. So they killed them, then sued them, then stole from them. Legal, documented, sanctioned by courts. Second method, legal suppression. They passed laws specifically designed to prevent black people from owning or keeping land. Texas Alien Land Law passed in 1921, 2 years after Longview. The law said people not eligible for citizenship couldn't own agricultural land. Who wasn't eligible for citizenship? In 1921, technically immigrants from certain countries. But here's how they enforced it. They used it against black people. Said, if you can't prove your citizenship, prove your parents were born in the U.S., prove your grandparents were freed slaves and not immigrants, you can't own farmland. Most formerly enslaved people didn't have birth certificates, didn't have papers, so they couldn't prove anything. And without proof, the state could seize their land. Did they use this law against white immigrants? Rarely. But they used it constantly against black landowners. Homestead Acts in the 1920s, federal land distribution programs, they were supposed to give land to anyone willing to farm it. But here's the reality. Local administrators, all white, decided who got land, and they prioritized white applicants. A black farmer could apply and be told all the land was claimed. A white farmer could apply the next day and get 200 acres. The Government Accountability Office did a study in 1982. They found that between 1900 and 1950, over 98% of federal homestead land went to white families. Black families got less than 2%, despite being 12% of the population. That's not accidental. That's systematic exclusion. Then there were zoning laws. After Longview, Gregg County changed its zoning maps. Land that had been zoned agricultural, where black farmers lived, got rezoned as industrial. Industrial zoning meant higher taxes, much higher. Black families who survived the massacre came back to find their property taxes had tripled. They couldn't pay. So the county seized the land for unpaid taxes. Then they sold it at auction. Then the new white owners got the zoning changed back to agricultural. Lower taxes, more profit. It was a scam. Legal, but a scam. Same tactic was used across the South. Find black-owned land. Rezone it to something that triggers high taxes. Wait for them to default. Seize it. Sell it cheap to white buyers. Rezone it back. Profit. This happened thousands of times. There's a term for it, tax sale theft. Still happens today, by the way. Detroit, Baltimore, Memphis. Majority black cities where property tax systems are weaponized against black homeowners. The method evolved, but the goal stayed the same. Separate black people from their land. Courts played a role too. Moore versus Dempsey, 1923. That was the Supreme Court case that saved the 12 Elaine sharecroppers from execution. The court ruled they didn't get a fair trial. Good right. Except here's what the court didn't rule on: the land. The Supreme Court said you can't execute them based on a sham trial, but said nothing about the thousands of acres stolen from their families. Why? Because property rights apparently don't apply the same way to black people. The families tried to sue, tried to get their land back, every case dismissed. Why lawyers said they couldn't prove ownership because the deeds were destroyed in that convenient courthouse fire. And courts said, well, without documentation, we can't help you. Even though the courts knew the documentation was destroyed specifically to prevent these lawsuits. Catch-22. In Longview, not a single lawsuit filed by black families succeeded. Not one. Because no black lawyer in Texas would take the case. They knew they'd be killed. The NAACP tried to help send lawyers from New York. Those lawyers received death threats the moment they arrived. One lawyer, his hotel room was firebombed. He left Texas and never came back. Without legal representation, the families had no recourse. And the white landowners kept the stolen property. Third method, educational erasure. They made sure your children would never learn this history. Texas State Board of Education. They control what goes in textbooks for the entire state. From 1920 to 2010, 90 years, not a single Texas history textbook mentioned the Longview Massacre. Not one. I checked, historians checked. It's not there. Wipe. In 1923, the board passed a resolution. It said textbooks should focus on positive aspects of Texas history, avoid divisive topics that might cause racial tension. Translation: don't tell black kids their ancestors were wealthy. Don't tell white kids their ancestors were thieves. Keep everyone ignorant. Keep the peace. The Alamo gets 12 pages in Texas textbooks. 12 pages about a battle where 200 people died in 1836. The Longview Massacre, where dozens died and millions in wealth was stolen in 1919. 0 pages. Not a footnote. Not a sidebar. Nothing. Same in Arkansas. The Elaine Massacre wasn't added to Arkansas state curriculum until 2000, 81 years later. And even then, it's optional. Teachers can choose to cover it or skip it. Most skip it. Florida didn't teach about Rosewood until 1994, 71 years after it happened. And only because survivors sued the state and the lawsuit generated media attention. The state was forced to acknowledge it. Oklahoma didn't teach about the Tulsa Massacre until 2020, 99 years later. A century of Oklahoma students graduated without knowing their state committed one of the worst acts of domestic terrorism in American history. You see what this does? If you don't teach history, each generation grows up ignorant. They don't know what was stolen. They don't know what they're owed. They accept poverty as normal instead of recognizing it as theft. That's the goal. Intergenerational amnesia. But it's not just omission, it's distortion. They changed the language. They called these events race riots instead of massacres. Riot implies both sides fighting, implies chaos, implies shared blame. Massacre means one side slaughtering another, means clear victims and clear perpetrators. Language shapes memory. If you call Longview a riot, people assume black people rioted, got out of control, and white people had to restore order. If you call it a massacre, people understand white mobs murdered black people and stole their land. See the difference. Same event, different framing, completely different moral judgment. The Tulsa Race Riot. That's what it was called for 99 years. Only in 2020 did Oklahoma officially change it to Tulsa Race Massacre. Why'd it take so long? Because calling it a massacre implies guilt, implies debt, implies reparations are owed. As long as it's a riot, the state owes nothing. Change it to massacre, and suddenly there are legal implications. So they fought that language change for a century. Rosewood Riot, Elaine Riot, Ocoee Riot, all originally called riots, all actually massacres. The terminology was a choice, a deliberate choice to obscure guilt. Fourth method, media manipulation. Newspapers in 1919 were the only mass media, and they lied. The Longview News. The local paper covered the massacre for exactly 2 days, July 11th and July 12th, 1919. The headlines: Negroes start riot, several wounded. White citizens restore order, Negro agitators arrested. Read those headlines. Who's the problem? Negroes. Who's the hero? White citizens. What's not mentioned? The land theft, the house burnings, the murders. It's framed as law enforcement, not terrorism. The Dallas Morning News, bigger paper, statewide circulation. Their coverage blamed Samuel Jones. Said he wrote inflammatory lies to a northern Negro newspaper and incited racial hatred. Inflammatory lies. He told the truth about a lynching. That's inflammatory. The article said Jones and other agitators got what they deserved. What they deserved. For telling the truth, they deserved to lose everything. That's what the paper said. The New York Times covered Longview. One paragraph. Page 8. Bottom corner. Texas town experiences Negro uprising quickly suppressed by authorities. That's it. No follow-up, no investigation, no mention of land theft. Just a brief note that some black people got uppity and white people put them back in place. Move along, nothing to see here. Compare that to how white newspapers covered crimes by black people. If a black man was accused of anything, front page. Photos, multi-day coverage, sensational language. But white mobs destroying entire communities. Back page, minimal coverage, passive voice. The black community was destroyed. Not white mobs destroyed the black community. See the difference? One hides blame, the other assigns it. And this wasn't accidental. Newspaper editors were often the same men leading the white supremacy campaigns. They controlled the narrative. In Wilmington, the newspaper editor was one of the coup leaders. He used his paper to justify the violence before it happened, then to celebrate it afterward. His editorials called for white men to take back their city. After the coup succeeded, he wrote that Wilmington was finally restored to proper governance. Proper meaning white. The media didn't just report these massacres, they enabled them. They provided cover for them. They rewrote them into something palatable, something that wouldn't disturb white readers' consciences. Black newspapers told the truth. The Chicago Defender covered Longview extensively, interviewed survivors, published Samuel Jones' full letter, named the white men who led the mob, gave exact figures on land stolen. But the Chicago Defender was banned in Texas. It was illegal to sell it, illegal to distribute it. If you were caught reading it, you could be arrested for possession of seditious materials. Seditious. The truth was sedition. In Arkansas, the black newspaper that covered Elaine was shut down. The editor fled to Chicago. In Florida, black newspapers that tried to cover Ocoee and Rosewood faced threats. One newspaper office was burned, so black people had access to the truth only if they were connected to northern black communities, only if they could get those newspapers smuggled in. Most couldn't. Most remained in the dark knowing something terrible happened, but not knowing the full scope. And white people. They only read white newspapers, so they believed the lie. They believed black people were dangerous, prone to violence, needed to be controlled. They never questioned whether the violence might be going the other direction. Never asked why black communities kept getting destroyed. Never wondered where all that land went. The media made sure they never had to ask those questions. This is how erasure works. You destroy the documents. You kill or silence the witnesses. You pass laws that legalize theft. You change the language to hide guilt. You control the textbooks so children never learn. You manipulate the media so adults never question. Layer after layer after layer of lies. And after 100 years, the truth is so buried that when someone like me tries to dig it up, people say, "Why are you talking about ancient history? Why are you trying to divide us? Why can't you just move on?" Because moving on means letting them keep what they stole. Moving on means accepting poverty as natural instead of recognizing it as imposed. Moving on means letting the erasure win. And I refuse to do that. You should refuse too. But before I tell you what to do, you need to understand how this connects to your life right now. Today, 2026. Because this isn't history. This is present tense. You might be thinking, okay, that's horrific. That's evil that happened over 100 years ago. What does that have to do with me? I'm going to show you exactly how Longview connects to your life today. How the theft continues. How the pattern never stopped. It just evolved. Let's start with numbers. 2026. Median white household wealth. $188,200. Median black household wealth. $24,100. That's a ratio of 7.8 to 1. White families have nearly 8 times the wealth of black families. Now, most people hear that and think, well, that's because of income inequality, education gaps, different career choices. No, that explains maybe 20% of the gap. The other 80%, stolen generational wealth. Let me show you. Black farmland ownership. In 1910, black farmers owned 14% of all U.S. farmland, 16 to 19 million acres. Today, black farmers own 0.52%, 4.7 million acres. We lost 12 million acres in a century. Where'd it go? Stolen in massacres like Longview, seized through discriminatory laws, taken through USDA loan denial, foreclosed through predatory contracts. If black people still owned 14% of U.S. farmland at current land values, that'd be $120 billion in assets. Today, we own land worth $7.8 billion. The difference, $112 billion. That's just farmland, not houses, not businesses, just farmland. 112 billion stolen. Now let's get specific about Longview. Samuel Jones owned 250 acres in 1919, value $8,000. If that land stayed in his family, compounding at average farmland appreciation rates over 104 years. You know what it'd be worth today. Texas farmland averages $4,200 per acre now. 250 times 4,200 equals $1.05 million. But that's just current value. Factor in a century of crop revenue, of timber harvest, of mineral rights, and you're looking at closer to $3.2 million in total value that family lost. Now multiply that by 127. That's how many black farmers owned land in Gregg County in 1910. 127 times 3 million equals $406 million stolen from one county. One county in Texas. Now extrapolate across every county where this happened, every massacre, every theft. You're looking at somewhere between $5 to $8 billion in black farmland stolen in Texas alone, across the whole South. 50 billion, minimum. And that's a conservative estimate. Some economists say it's closer to 100 billion when you factor in compounding generational wealth. Let me make this personal. If your family had roots in Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, the Carolinas, if your great-grandparents were farmers or sharecroppers, this affected you directly. Most black people in America are 3 or 4 generations removed from people who owned or worked land in the South. That land was either stolen outright in massacres or systematically taken through legal mechanisms designed to separate black people from property. Your poverty, if you grew up poor, isn't because your family didn't work hard. It's because your great-grandfather's farm was burned down and the land was stolen. Your grandmother couldn't inherit that farm. Your father grew up in a city tenement instead of on family land. You inherited nothing because there was nothing left to inherit. The wealth was stolen. This is why your family rents instead of owns. This is why you don't have generational wealth to fall back on. This is why you started from zero, while white families started with property, with equity, with something to borrow against. They didn't work harder, they just didn't get robbed. Or more accurately, they were the robbers. Now let's talk about reparations. People say slavery was 160 years ago. Get over it. Okay, Longview was 104 years ago. That's your grandmother's lifetime. If she's still alive and she's in her 90s, her parents lived through this. This isn't ancient history. This is 2 generations back. People say we can't pay for our ancestors' sins. Here's my response. You're still profiting from those sins, right now, today. The land stolen from Samuel Jones is still producing wealth for the white family that owns it. They've made millions off that land over the past century. That's not ancestral sin. That's current theft. The benefit continues, so the debt continues. People say, how do you calculate reparations? Easy. Give back the $112 billion in farmland. That's just land value. Now add interest, compound interest over 100 years. Financial analysts have calculated this. At average rates of return, that $112 billion becomes over $600 billion when you factor in what that land would have earned. Add damages for lives, lost trauma, inflicted opportunities destroyed, and you're over $1 trillion owed just for farmland theft, just for one type of theft. We're not even talking about housing discrimination, wage theft, mass incarceration, or any of the other ways wealth was extracted. Just land. $1 trillion owed. Is there precedent for this? Yes. 1988. United States paid $1.6 billion in reparations to Japanese Americans who were interned during World War II. That was 46 years after the internment. The government said we were wrong. Here's money not enough, but something. Black people are still waiting. 1994, Florida paid $2.1 million to Rosewood survivors. Sounds like a lot until you divide it. 9 survivors got money. That's about $230,000 each. For losing everything. Their homes, their land, their livelihoods, 70 years of earning potential. $230,000 doesn't cover that, and the descendants got nothing. Florida said it's too complicated to trace who should get what. Too complicated. But when white people inherit property, it's not complicated. They have deeds, wills, probate courts. It only becomes complicated when black people try to claim what's owed. 2020, Evanston, Illinois started a housing reparations program. $10 million for black residents affected by redlining and housing discrimination. It's a start. Small, but a start. Other cities are exploring it. But we need federal reparations. We need the U.S. government to do what it did for Japanese Americans. Acknowledge the theft, calculate the debt, pay it. Is it going to happen? I don't know. But here's what I know. We have to demand it. Not ask, not beg, demand. Because it's owed. This is debt, not charity. But let me show you how the theft continues right now. Gentrification. You've heard that word. It sounds benign. Neighborhood improvement, rising property values. Good thing, right wrong. Gentrification is modern land theft using the exact same playbook as Longview. Here's how it works. Black community builds a neighborhood. Through decades of work investment culture, it becomes valuable. Then white developers want it. But instead of burning it down like they did in 1919, they use legal tools. Zoning changes, property tax increases, eminent domain. They rezone the neighborhood for development. Taxes go up. Black families who've owned homes for generations suddenly can't afford the taxes. They're forced to sell. White developers buy cheap, build expensive condos, sell for huge profit. The black families who built that neighborhood, who made it valuable, they get nothing. They're displaced. This is happening right now in Austin, Texas. East Austin was historically black. Since the 1990s, it's been gentrified at an astonishing rate. 90% of black families who lived there in 1990 are gone now. Where'd they go? Pushed to the outskirts to suburbs with worse schools, longer commutes, less opportunity. Who lives in East Austin now? Young white professionals paying $3,000 a month for apartments. The wealth that neighborhood generates now goes to white landlords and developers, not the black families who built it. Same pattern, different method, still theft, mass incarceration. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery except as punishment for crime. That's the loophole. You can still enslave people if they're convicted of a crime. After Longview and massacres like it, southern states ramped up vagrancy laws. You could be arrested for being unemployed, for not having a permanent address, for walking at night. Guess who got arrested? Black men. Guess where they went? Prison farms. Forced to work the same land their families used to own. Slavery by another name. Today, 2.3 million people are incarcerated in America. 38% are black, despite black people being 13% of the population. They work for pennies an hour, making products for corporations. Prison labor is a $2 billion per year industry. McDonald's uniforms, Victoria's Secret lingerie, military equipment, all made with prison labor, made by disproportionately black inmates. Slavery didn't end, it evolved. They couldn't legally enslave us anymore, so they criminalized us, imprisoned us, then enslaved us legally. Same result. different paperwork. Land loss continues. I said black farmers lost 12 million acres since 1910. That's not all old theft, it's ongoing. The USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, is supposed to help farmers with loan subsidy support. For decades, the USDA discriminated against black farmers, denied them loans, approved loans for white farmers with worse credit, foreclosed on black farmers while extending deadlines for white farmers. This went on from the 1950s through the 1990s. 40 years of systematic discrimination. Black farmers sued. Pigford versus Glickman, 1999. Largest civil rights settlement in history. A $1.25 billion awarded to black farmers who proved they were discriminated against. Sounds like justice, right? Here's the problem. That money didn't restore the land. It was a payout, but the land was already lost. The farms were already foreclosed. The wealth was already transferred to white owners. So black farmers got some money, maybe $50,000 each if they qualified, but they didn't get their farms back. Meanwhile, white farmers who bought those foreclosed farms for cheap, they kept them. They're still profiting from them. So even when there's a legal victory, even when discrimination is proven and compensation is paid, the land stays stolen. The wealth stays transferred. Justice incomplete. This is what I need you to understand. Your poverty is not your fault. If you grew up struggling, if your parents struggled, if your grandparents struggled, it's not because you're lazy or your family didn't work hard. It's because they stole from you. They stole from your great-grandparents in Longview, and Elaine, and Tulsa, and Rosewood, and 100 other places. They stole during Jim Crow with sharecropping and convict leasing. They stole during the mid-century with redlining and urban renewal. They're stealing now with gentrification and mass incarceration and USDA discrimination. The methods change. The theft continues. The result is the same. Wealth flows from black communities to white communities. And then they have the nerve to ask why there's a wealth gap. There's no gap, there's theft. A gap implies something naturally occurring. Theft is intentional. This was intentional, is intentional, will continue to be intentional unless we stop it. And stopping it starts with knowing it. You can't fight what you don't see. Now you see it. Now what are you going to do? But before I tell you what to do, I need to reframe something. I need to change how you see yourself, because they've spent a century trying to make you think you're victims, you're poor, you're broken, you're less than. And I'm here to tell you that's a lie. You're not victims, you are survivors of genocide. Let that sink in. Your ancestors survived the Middle Passage. 30 to 60% of enslaved Africans died during that voyage. Your ancestors were in the percentage that lived. Then they survived 250 years of chattel slavery, the most brutal system of forced labor in human history. They survived that. Then they survived Reconstruction, when for a brief moment they could build, and they built empires. Then they survived the backlash, the massacres, the terrorism, the theft. Then they survived Jim Crow, legal apartheid for 90 years. Then they survived the civil rights struggle dogs and fire hoses and assassinations. And here you are, still here, still standing. You think that's weakness? That's the strongest DNA on the planet. You are a descendant of people who survived everything the world threw at them and still built, still loved, still had children, still passed down culture and faith and hope. That's not victim energy, that's warrior energy. You are not descendants of slaves. I mean, technically, yes, genealogically, but that's not your identity. You are descendants of empire builders who survived genocide. Samuel Jones wasn't a victim. He was a millionaire farmer who built a 250-acre operation from nothing. He fought back when they came for him. He didn't win, but he fought. That's your great-grandfather. Dr. Calvin Davis wasn't a victim. He was a doctor who delivered 500 babies and ran a clinic and saved lives. When they burned his house, he didn't just accept it, he defended it. That's your bloodline. July Perry wasn't a victim. He was a World War I veteran who fought for a country that didn't respect him, came home and built 50 acres of orange groves, and when a mob came, he shot back, killed 2 of them. They killed him, but he took some with him. That's your ancestor. You come from people who built millionaire wealth from sharecropping wages, who educated themselves when it was illegal, who started businesses when banks wouldn't lend to them, who voted when it meant risking death. You come from warriors. And let me tell you who you are. You are heirs to stolen empires. You are children of millionaire farmers. You are grandchildren of landowners. You are descendants of men who fought armies and survived. You are descendants of women who rebuilt from ashes and raised children in the midst of terrorism. You are carriers of DNA that survived Middle Passage slavery, Jim Crow, and domestic terrorism. You are stronger than you know. You are richer than you were told. You are more than they said you could be. The weakness, that's their lie. The poverty, that's their theft. The broken homes, that's their violence. But you are whole. You are powerful. You are owed. Every day you wake up and refuse to be broken, that's a victory. Every time you succeed, despite the system that's resistance. Every time you love your children, teach them truth, build something that's revolution. You're not surviving. You're overcoming. There's a difference. Think about what your ancestors did. They survived slavery, literal torture for generations, and emerged free. They bought land with money saved from sharecropping at $2 a month. $2 a month, and they saved enough to buy 100 acres. Do you understand the discipline that took the sacrifice? They built homes, barns, schools, churches, with no loans, no help, no government programs, just their hands and their will. They stood on porches with rifles, facing 400 men with torches, and said, "You will not take my family." They lost everything and still survived, still rebuilt, still passed down the story, so you'd know. That resilience is in your blood. That courage is in your DNA. When you go to a job that underpays you and you keep showing up, that's Samuel Jones' strength. When you raise children despite the system working against you, that's those Longview mothers' love. When you refuse to give up, that's your ancestral inheritance. The wealth was stolen, but the power that can never be taken. Now let me talk to you spiritually for a moment. If you believe in God, and I know many of you do think about this, why did God preserve your ancestors? Through the Middle Passage, millions died. Yours lived. Why? Why did God bring them through slavery? Generations died in bondage. Yours survived to see freedom. Why? Why did God keep them alive through Jim Crow, through lynchings, through massacres like Longview? They could have died. Many did, but yours didn't. Why? Because God has a purpose for you. Exodus chapter 1 verse 12 says, "But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread." That's you. They tried to destroy you. You're still here, stronger, more numerous, unbroken. That's not luck. That's divine purpose. Why did God preserve you? So you could reveal the truth they buried, so you could demand the justice they denied, so you could reclaim the wealth they stole, so you could restore the honor of your ancestors, so you could rebuild the empires they destroyed. Your existence is an act of resistance. You being alive, being educated, being awake to this truth, that's what they tried to prevent. And you're here anyway. That's God. Every day you wake up and refuse to be broken, that's you fulfilling purpose. Every time you teach your children the truth, instead of the lies they teach in schools, that's revolutionary. Every time you buy land, start a business, build wealth, that's reparations you give yourself. God didn't bring you this far to leave you in poverty. He didn't preserve your bloodline through 400 years of hell so you could accept scraps. He brought you here to restore, to reclaim, to demand. You are not victims. You are overcomers. You are world changers. You are the answer to your ancestors' prayers. They prayed that someone would tell the truth. You're hearing it. They prayed that someone would demand justice. That's your job now. They prayed that their children's children would be free, would be prosperous, would be powerful. That's you. Don't dishonor their sacrifice by accepting the lies. Don't let their suffering be for nothing. Honor them by knowing the truth, teaching the truth, fighting for justice, and building the wealth they were robbed of. That's your mission. That's why you're alive. That's why this video found you today. Now I need you to stop for a second. If this truth has shaken you, if you're feeling angry or heartbroken or awakened, I need you to do 3 things right now. First comment, Longview below. Let me know you're awake now. Let me know you see the pattern. Let me know this truth hit you. I read every comment. I need to know this message is reaching people. Second, hit that like button, not for me. For the algorithm, YouTube needs to see that Black people care about this history. If this video gets engagement, YouTube will recommend it to more people. That's how we spread truth. Your like is an act of resistance. Third, share this video. Text it to your uncle who says slavery was long ago. Send it to your cousin who thinks the wealth gap is our fault. Post it on your timeline. Tag 3 people who need to see this. Because here's the reality. They buried this story for 104 years. If we don't share it, they'll bury it again. Your share proves we remember. Your comment says, "You will not erase us again." Do that now. I'll wait. Seriously. Pause, do those 3 things, then come back. Because what I'm about to tell you next is how we fight back. All right, you still here? Good. Let's talk about action. Knowing the truth is step 1. But knowledge without action is just intellectual entertainment. We have to do something. Here's what. First, educate yourself deeper. This video is one story. There are hundreds more. Wilmington, 1898. I'm covering that next week. The only successful coup d'etat in American history, and you probably never heard of it. Tulsa, 1921. Rosewood, 1923. The Red Summer Massacres. All the stories they erased. Subscribe to this channel. I'm exposing every single one. We're building a library of truth. Because if it's not documented, if it's not preserved, they'll erase it again. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Second, teach your children. This is crucial. Your children are learning lies in school right now. They're learning that slavery ended and everything got better. They're learning that the civil rights movement fixed everything. They're learning that if Black people are poor, it's because they don't work hard. Those are lies designed to make them accept inequality. You have to counter that. Sit your children down and tell them about Longview. Tell them about Samuel Jones. Tell them their ancestors were millionaires. Tell them the wealth was stolen, not lost. Give them the truth so they grow up knowing what they're owed, knowing what to fight for. The erasure stops with you. Third, support Black farmers. Right now, today, there are Black farmers fighting to keep their land. Organizations like the Black Farmers Network, the Federation of Southern Cooperatives, they're helping Black farmers resist foreclosure, navigate USDA discrimination past land to the next generation. Support them, donate if you can. Buy from Black farmers. There's a website called Black Farmers Market Finder. I'll put the link in the description. It helps you find Black-owned farms near you. Buy your produce from them. Keep money in the community. Help them hold on to land. Because every acre a Black farmer keeps is an acre they didn't steal. Fourth sign, petitions and support legislation. There's a petition right now demanding that Texas officially recognize the Longview Massacre and compensate descendants. I put the link in the description. Sign it, share it. We're building a coalition. If we get enough signatures, we can force the state to at least acknowledge what happened. That's step one toward reparations. There's also H.R. 40, the Federal Reparations Study Bill. It's been introduced in Congress for 30 years. 30 years, it never passes because there's no political will. We have to create that will. Call your representatives, email them, tell them you support H.R. 40. Tell them you demand reparations. Be loud, be persistent. Political change doesn't happen because politicians suddenly grow consciences. It happens because people make it too costly to ignore us. Fifth, and this is the most important, buy land. Even if it's just 1 acre, even if it's just a small plot, reconnect with the earth your ancestors worked. Land is the one thing they can't make more of. It's the ultimate store of value. Your great-grandparents knew that. That's why they sacrificed everything to buy land. That's why white supremacists stole it. Because land equals power. If you own land, you can't be easily displaced. You have equity. You have something to pass down. And if enough of us buy land, if we rebuild Black land ownership from 0.5% back to 14%, that's a revolution. That's reclaiming what was stolen. Start small. Research land in rural areas. It's cheaper than you think. There are programs like the Farm Service Agency that offer loans to new farmers. Yes, even after Pigford, the USDA is supposed to be better now. I'm skeptical, but the programs exist. Use them. Or pool resources with family. 10 people pitch in $5,000 each, that's $50,000. You can buy land with that in many states. Create a family trust. Put the land in it. Make sure it stays in the family. Don't let it get divided and lost in probate like so much Black land has been. Protect it. Build on it. Farm it, or lease it, or just hold it. But own it. This is how we fight back. Not with violence. They'd love that. Gives them an excuse to crush us. We fight with truth, with education, with economic power, with land ownership, with political pressure, with lawsuits, with refusing to accept the lies, with teaching our children, with supporting each other, with building wealth they can't steal because we know the tricks now. This is spiritual warfare. This is economic warfare. And we're on the right side. We're not asking for something we don't deserve. We're demanding what's owed. There's a difference. When you ask, you're requesting a favor. When you demand, you're asserting a right. We have a right to reparations. We have a right to our history. We have a right to truth. And we're taking it back, not waiting for permission, not hoping they'll suddenly become generous. Taking it through knowledge, through action, through refusing to be silent. You're part of this now. By watching this video, by getting this knowledge, you have a responsibility. You can't unknow this. You can't go back to sleep. So what are you going to do? Are you going to share this truth or let it die with you? Are you going to teach your children or let them learn lies? Are you going to buy land or let the theft continue? The choice is yours. But know this, your ancestors are watching. They didn't survive all that suffering so you could be comfortable in ignorance. They survived so you could be powerful in truth. Honor them. Fight for them. Reclaim what they built. That's your inheritance. That's your calling. That's why you're alive right now. Let me close with prayer. If you don't pray, just receive this as a blessing. Father God, we come before you with hearts heavy but unbroken. We thank you for preserving this truth for 104 years. We thank you that the blood of Samuel Jones, John Henry Smith, Isaiah Brown, and countless others cries out from the ground, and you hear them, you see them, you remember them, even when history books don't. We thank you for the warriors who came before us, the millionaire farmers who built empires from nothing, the mothers who saved their children while their homes burned, the men who stood on porches with rifles and said, "Not my family, not today." We thank you for their courage, their strength, their faith. Lord, we pray for justice. Justice for Longview. Justice for Elaine. Justice for Tulsa. Justice for Rosewood. Justice for Wilmington. Justice for the 100+ massacres whose names we don't even know. We pray for restoration of what was stolen, the land, the wealth, the dignity, the truth, all of it. Restore it, Lord, in your time and your way, but restore it. We pray for awakening. Awaken your people to the truth of who they are. Let every Black child know they're descendants of empire builders, not victims. Let them know their poverty is theft, not failure. Let them know they're owed, not begging. Awaken white people to the truth of what was done, not to shame them, but to move them toward justice. Let truth break through generations of lies. Bless those who seek truth. Give them courage to face uncomfortable history. Strengthen those who resist erasure. Protect the elders who carry stories. Anoint the young people who are learning and fighting. Vindicate the memory of our ancestors. Let their names be remembered. Let their sacrifices be honored. Let their stolen wealth be restored to their descendants. And give us courage, Lord. Courage to demand what is ours. Not ask, not beg, demand. Because you are a God of justice. You hate theft. You hate oppression. You side with the oppressed. And what was stolen will be restored. We believe that. We claim that. We stand on that. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. Amen. Walk in truth. Demand justice. You are free. Free from the lies. Free from the shame. Free from accepting poverty as your portion. You are descendants of millionaires. That wealth was stolen, but the power remains. The resilience remains. The brilliance remains. Build on that. Reclaim your inheritance. Remember the theft. Never forget. Never let them erase it again. This is Dark History Stories. This is the truth they tried to bury. But we dug it up, and now you carry it. Pass it on. Teach it. Live it. Fight for it. Until next time, build wealth, demand reparations, buy land, and remember, always remember. They can burn the houses. They can steal the land. They can erase the records. But they cannot kill the truth as long as we keep speaking it. So speak. Your voice is power. Your knowledge is a weapon. Use it. I'll see you next week when we uncover Wilmington, 1898, the day democracy died and white supremacy won. You won't believe what they did. Actually, after today, you probably will. But you need to hear it anyway. Until then, stay woke, stay strong, and stay fighting. Peace.